friends, in this video I am going to talk about two powerful tricks that will completely transform how you use ChatGPT. So let's start. But before I talk about the actual tricks, let me highlight the objective. So the objective is to minimize the length of the conversation which we have with ChatGPT, and that too without compromising the quality. So that means we would reach to the final outcome as quickly as possible so that we can move ahead with the next task. So if you observe carefully, then most of the times reiterations are required mainly because of two reasons. The first reason is length, right? So many times what will happen? You prefer to have response of let's say 6 to 7 paragraphs, but ChatGPT is giving you just one paragraph. And the reverse scenario is also possible, right? There will be some cases where you prefer to have just one paragraph, but ChatGPT is giving you 6 to 7 paragraphs, right? So controlling length is one of the important aspect for which we require kind of multiple prompts. The second aspect is creativity. Consider two different scenarios. In scenario one, I am trying to analyze a research paper versus let's say scenario two, where I am trying to generate one imaginary story. So of course, I prefer ChatGPT to be extremely creative for the second task, that is deterministic, right? And the answers must be based on the research paper for the very first task. So if we can control creativity, then also we'll be able to kind of restrict the length of the conversation, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate two different parameters which will help us in accomplish the same, right? So let's get started. So the first parameter is called temperature. This is kind of a measure to measure of randomness or creativity with respect to the ChatGPT model, right? So, for example, if you keep it too low, like for example, if you are keeping temperature in this particular range 0 to 0.3, then the responses will be kind of more focused, deterministic, and factual. Whereas if you keep it high, like for example, in the range of zero point 0.8 to 2, then the responses will be highly creative, unpredictable, and diverse. And depending upon the task, you can fine tune this, right? For example, for storytelling, brainstorming and artistic tasks, it's recommended that you keep the temperature very high. And for the kind of queries related to science, if you are doing some legal or technical work, then the value of temperature must be on lower side. And for professional writing and general conversation, you can keep it in between. So let me demonstrate this to you, then you will be able to appreciate this more. So let's say I am just giving a simple prompt that give me 5 tips of time management, right? With I'm giving some specific setup. Let's say temperature is equal to 0, and let's see how ChatGPT responds, right? So as you can see, by default it has obtained this structured and deterministic approach, and then it's giving me some techniques, right? Of course, they are relevant, and right, one can go with this technique. Let's see how ChatGPT responds to the same query with the modified setup of temperature is equal to 1. Right? So let's see. So as you can see, now responses have been changed, right? And it's using more. So in the first approach, as you can see, the techniques were kind of more famous ones, and one could read about these techniques in various books, right? So they are kind of traditional techniques, whereas now it's taking some kind of liberty, right, in the second case. And let me try one more version where I am giving temperature is equal to 2, and then you will be able to see the entire unconventional and out of the box approach, right, in this response, right? So and this is kind of very interesting, and you can play with this and decide that for your kind of task which will be the kind of best level of temperature. This time I'm telling it to give me 5 new startup ideas on let's say AI agents with temperature is equal to let's say 0. So this will be deterministic approach, and the ideas will be kind of based on practicality and feasibility, of course. And creativity will be kind of very low for this kind of, because as you can see, this are kind of very trivial ideas, right? And anyone can think about them. AI tutor for personalized learning, so on and so forth. But now things will become quite interesting when I give the same query with temperature is equal to 2, right? So then you will get kind of extremely creative ideas, right? Yeah. So you can see personalized AI for creative inspiration, right? And then eco mind, right? AI agent for preserving human consciousness. This is quite innovative. Neural twin, and so on and so forth, right? So hopefully you got the idea about this particular parameter. Now let's talk about the second parameter, right, which is called nothing but tokens, right? So if I summarize this, then for low temperature is recommended for research, legal, and academic work. Medium temperature for engaging yet structured responses, and high temperature for brainstorming, creative writing, and humor, right? And you can, of course, you should combine this with other parameters, which I am going to talk about now, which is nothing but tokens. Right? So it's very straightforward. So if you want short, concise answers, then you should give maximum token values to be in this particular range, let's say 50 to 100. And you should remember this: one token is equal to kind of 4 characters. So now, many times what we have observed is ChatGPT struggles with number of words. So instead of saying number of words, we should talk in terms of tokens. So now let me demonstrate this to you. So in this particular case, what I have done, summarize Einstein's theory of relativity in 50 tokens. And you can see a very brief response of just one line. Now let me give the same query, but now I am saying instead of 50, let's say 500 tokens. And then you will be able to see the difference. Now, of course, ideally it should give me 10 times more uh, in this particular case, and it's giving actually the number of sentences are at least 10, I can see, right? So which makes sense. And now let me repeat this one more time with instead of 500, now I will say 5000 tokens, and then kind of I'm going to get one entire essay, right, based on this Einstein theory of relativity, right? So that's the power of this particular second parameter, which is called tokens. Let me demonstrate this to you with respect to coding example also, where I'm in this particular case I'm telling it to write a Python function to check whether the number is prime or not, but I'm giving this particular limit that maximum tokens is equal to 50, and then I got very short code for the same. But now let me revise this, right? Now I'm asking it to do the same stuff, but instead of 50, now I'm going to say, let's say 500, and let's see, right, how it responds, right? So now it's understanding that I'm looking for detailed and efficient code, not short one. And now it's giving me details, as you can see, right? And also giving me some examples, right, use cases, right? And it is also explaining me which optimizations it has used, right? And of course I prefer this particular version, right? So hopefully you got the idea, right? So the if I summarize this, then the idea is when you should go for like high token sites, whenever you want this kind of stuff, like for example, whenever you want to generate a detailed research summary on a scientific topic, or you would like to write a full length article or a blog post, generate extended dialogue for a story or screenplay, then you can go for uh, maximum token, for example high max tokens 500 plus, and otherwise for low max tokens for quick responses and summaries, medium for balanced detailed explanation, and high max tokens for long form content and in-depth analysis, right? So basically what you need to do is you can also combine this, right? So depending upon which kind of task you are doing, you can club temperature parameter with token parameter, and then responses will be kind of fantastic, right? So I recommend you to try this. And if you have any suggestions, comments, then you can write in the comment section below, and subscribe to my channel for more videos.